Welcome back, everybody, to Two in the Zone. We are here with the one, the only, the GOAT, Dead Prez Picks, myself, AC. Everybody, thank you, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor before we get into tonight's games. I mean, it's an awesome slate tonight. So, everybody, right there, right on the screen. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. Follow 7X Sports on Twitter, the best book on Twitter, and it's not even close. They're super reputable. They do same day payouts if you're using cryptocurrency, reduced juice lines. And I mean, they've been working with myself and Dead for basically a year at this point, and we really, really stand by them. So definitely check out 7Stack Sports. And if you give them a follow and sign up with their book, we'll hook you up with some VIP tonight. So, yeah, thank you so much, 7Stacks, for sponsoring. All right, man, let's get into, I guess, last night real quick. Last night was pretty cool, Dead. There were a few games last night capped by the Lakers' embarrassing game there at the end. But let's get into last night. So the Knicks and the Nets, Battle of New York. The Nets, I don't know if you remember this, but about a month ago, they were down like 25-30, and then they came back all the way against the Knicks to win at the end. This game was a little different. Durant was back for this. He dropped 53 on the Knicks. They won 110-107. They kind of led throughout this game. Any thoughts on either of these teams, Knicks or Nets?
No, yeah, pretty good game. Did catch a little bit of that. Honestly, I was more engaged yesterday with the conference championship games than the NBA. So the early NBA games I didn't really watch a ton. Obviously, the Knicks did get the cover there as they were a 5.5-point dog, but good win for the Nets. The total there, AC, that kind of would have been a bad beat. It was 217. The game landed on 217. Total was 225. So only 46 points combined in that fourth quarter, and the quarter before 49. So really the tempo died there in the second half. But good win for the Nets. Seems like they're finding their footing a little bit here the last couple games, and they're back to over 500 by 2 games.
All right, this next game here, super impressive win for my team. I didn't watch it. I wasn't following the game, but the Mavericks, I believe, were, pretty sizable underdogs on the road against Boston, who had been the hottest team in the league. But the Mavericks got the win here, 95-92 in the defensive battle. That's super low scoring. Again, I didn't watch the game. I know Luka did his thing, but any thoughts on this one, Ded?
You kind of hit it on the head there. Luka did his thing. Spencer Dinwiddie hit the big shot there down the stretch to give them a 3-point lead. There was actually a reversed foul, so it looked like Luka hit Smart, but I guess by rule, if you high-five the opposing player, it's actually not a foul. So Mavericks caught a little bit of a break there. Tatum ended up missing a 3 at the end. But really good game. I mean, since the addition of Dinwiddie, this has been a really tough team to beat, and they're an interesting team because they go small. They did yesterday, right? They started Dinwiddie and Brunson, so I mean they're pretty small there across the board. But I mean they were able to get it done there against the Celtics team, who, like you said, they have been really hot. This is a dangerous Boston roster, as we know. So that's a really good win there for the Mavs, and like you said, an easy cover. So 2 dogs to kick us off yesterday.
All right, from my team to your team pulled it out in overtime yesterday. Embiid 35-16, front runner for the MVP. We'll get into his game tonight that he's going up against last year's MVP in Nikola Jokic. But 116-114 against the Magic. Orlando's been playing a lot better. A win is a win. Any thoughts on your team and moving forward?
I mean, that was a bad win, right? Like, you're going to get those nights in the NBA. I'm not someone who overreacts to a mid-March Sunday night NBA game, especially when there was a little bit of a look-ahead spot, as we'll talk about with the Nuggets tonight. I think Philly had the Nuggets on their mind. The thing I don't like is playing an overtime game when you have a back-to-back. This is a game that you should have been able to rest Embiid and Harden in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, they did not get that opportunity. They were fairly taxed. They were down by 4 AC in overtime with 1:20. I didn't think they were going to be able to pull it off, and I kept live betting them, so I would have had a rough Sunday night if they were not able to pull that one off. So good win there. But again, another dog, as we talked about the dogs yesterday, really, really good day for underdogs. I believe all underdogs covered outside of the Rockets and Lakers. So it was a big dog day in the NBA yesterday.
Yeah, you mentioned the Rockets game. I was only on one bet yesterday, Pelicans. It was my favorite play of the day. So they won comfortably 130 to 105. It was basically two really bad teams, right? The
Yeah.
Pelicans didn't have Ingram or CJ McCollum, but I just felt like the Pelicans are a little deeper, and right now they're hungry, right? They're still playing for something, whereas the Rockets are tanking. Let's talk about that last game. Lakers, Suns. Suns basically dropped 50 points in that first quarter. The Lakers, even if they make a play-in game, like their season's done, right?
I still have faith if they. So here's the thing: if Anthony Davis comes back and they get in a play-in game, I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they're better than any of those play-in teams, with the exception of if Minnesota's there. The Clippers, for some reason, always seem to beat them, but I still have weird faith that the Lakers can win the play-in game. Right? I don't think they'll be able to make any news in the playoffs. But I mean, if they don't get into the playoffs like the 8-team field, that's so embarrassing, right? You still have
Mm-hmm.
LeBron's leading the NBA now in scoring. You just passed Embiid. He has been great this year. It's just they need to get Anthony Davis healthy. Even when Davis is healthy, they're not a contending team, in my opinion. But I mean, come on, they have to be able to get in past a Clippers team who's missing their three best players. Like I can't see it where they don't get it. But I have to say, last night our big play was Lakers team total under 111.5. So we won it by the hook.
Wow, nice.
And that also included a 22-point fourth quarter by Lakers. So a little bit of luck there. I mean, they scored 22 on the first in between. The game turned so – I feel like the Suns just kind of didn't have to be focused on defense because they were scoring every time up the floor. So, I mean, another embarrassing loss for the Lakers. They'll look to bounce back tonight at home, and they are a 5-point dog against the Raptors.
All right, so let's get into tonight. Before I pass it over to you, I want to give props again to our sponsor, Seven Stack Sports. Without them, none of this would be possible. So thank you so much. I mean, best book online, without a doubt. All right, let's get into tonight's games, and then we'll get into our best bets. So for those who are just joining for the first time, or maybe first couple times, Dead and I, we give you guys a best bet every night. So one from Dead, one from me. We've been doing this now for, I think, 70 something episodes. Sometimes we don't have a best bet, but we are sitting at 104 and 45, Dead. Like, this is an amazing run we're on. I think we're on like a 10-1 streak, to be honest, in the last 11, 12 games. So let's keep it going, man.
Yeah, now let's get into it. We'll get into those best bets soon, but let's kick it off here with the team I was just talking about. The Clippers will battle against the Cavs tonight. Clippers a 7.5-point dog. There was a time, right? Cleveland was the best against the spread team this season. Not anymore. They have fallen down to 5, but they're still a really good team against the spread this year. The Clippers, on the flip side of things, they have not been obviously as good. They're 35 and 34 against the spread this season. A lot of points here, right, for the Cavs. It seem like they're coming back to earth. I've been on record a lot of times being critical of the Cavs. I said they would fall out of the playoffs into a play-in. I'm starting to look smart here. You see, they are one game away from falling out of that play-in spot. And let me just remind you, you do not want to get into a play-in spot. I don't think anyone wants to be that 7th seed right now because you meet the Brooklyn Nets in that play-in game. So, I mean, that's assuming the Nets don't climb more, obviously, a lot of time still. But bottom line, we knew the Cavs weren't really a legitimate team in the East. They're a feel-good team that I think everyone wants to see in the playoffs. Do you think they cover this 7.5-point spread tonight?
This is a big number. I mean, the Cavs have not been really doing well against the spread. In their last 11 games, they're only 3-8 against the spread. So one of the worst teams in the league. And then on the flip side, the Clippers quietly are one of the better teams in the league against the spread recently. In their last 13, they're 9-3-1. So two teams moving in opposite directions. Cleveland obviously have been dealing with injuries to major players throughout, and I think that's just a thing with the Clippers as well. So tonight is tough, right? There's no Marcus Morris, there's no Reggie Jackson, no Covington, no Norm Powell. We already know PG and Kawhi are out. I mean, there is nobody on the Clippers. They're going to have to score at least 110, 115 to make this a game. I think it's a Cavs read, but I think it's too late. I think the value is gone. If anything, maybe a Luke Kennard points. Like no one else is going to score for the Clippers. So for me, I'm just like, man, maybe just do Kennard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I see where you're going there with that angle. For me, it's a stay away spot. I think there's a lot uh, more value plays on the board tonight, so this is going to be a skip for me. Let's move it along here, AC, to the Blazers and the Hawks. The Hawks, a 13.5 point favorite in this game. Neither team this season has been good against the spread. 26-39 for Portland, and surprisingly, maybe to some, the Hawks 28-39. So pretty much equally as bad. Now, are you throwing up a big number here with the Hawks 13.5 at home?
You will never, ever, ever see me back a Hawks spread that big. They don't play enough defense. I think Capella is going to eat tonight, right? Because there's no John Collins. He's going to get a lot of minutes, and Nurkic is out for the Blazers. So I think if you're looking at the player prop market, I think Clint Capella is going to do well. But no, man, to answer your question, this is definitely a layaway from me. What is it, 13? You said 13.5 points on the Hawks. It's basically Hawks or nothing, but it's hard to back a team that's so up and down.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the Hawks team total under here is an intriguing spot. And this is a really, bold play because the Blazers are not very good at defense. The Hawks, they're one strong suit, obviously, their offense. But they're on a back-to-back tonight. I could see their legs kind of catching up to them. And just like the flow of this game, like the Blazers, they might try and just muck it up, make it, kind of a slower-paced game. I think it's a tall number. We always talk about these numbers I've had success betting over 120s on team totals because you really are just counting on a 4 or 5 minute lull, and that can knock the number out. For me, I think the number here is just a bit too tall. Obviously, it's not going to be a clean winner. You'll probably have to sweat a little bit through this one, but I think that is the best play in this one. All right, the ESPN game of the night, a big game here, AC, for my 76ers and the people in Philly, because the debate that has been going on and on and on the last couple of years, predominantly this year, Joel Embiid, Nikola Jokic, who's MVP, who's better. I mean, at this point, it's tough to compare. Obviously, they're both dominant. You can't go wrong with either, but this is a big game tonight, maybe for the MVP case. Embiid's still the favorite, but Jokic is right there on his heels. I'm going to go to you first here, AC, for this one because, as we know, I am a Sixers fan.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and hear a different opinion before getting into mine.
All right. I think as far as the MVP race is concerned, I think it's easy. It's Joel Embiid. It doesn't matter what happens tonight, to be honest. Even if they get blown up by 50, I think it's Joel Embiid's award to lose, and I don't see him losing unless he gets hurt. So knock on wood, he doesn't get hurt.
I'll say that.
With that being said, I think it's a Nuggets read tonight. I know the Sixers are coming off a second night of a back-to-back where they went into overtime. This line opened up around 5 points, and it's moving towards the Nuggets, which kind of makes sense, right? But steaming road team, steaming road dog here, getting a lot of public money, which is not always the best thing when it comes to betting. But I think the Nuggets do hold a lot of value here. But if you look at the Sixers side, this needs to be a big spot for them from a national TV standpoint, right? They just played the Nets on national TV, and they kind of got embarrassed by Kyrie and KD that night. So this is kind of their chance to kind of redeem themselves. Embiid, like I said, in that game is going to show again that he is the best player and he is the MVP. But sometimes that's just not enough, man. Like the other team, especially in that Nets game, like nobody was missing. So I can see something similar here with the Nuggets. I think it's a Nuggets play. I'm personally going to lay off. I don't think I'm going to make it a real VIP play. But if I had to choose, it would be Nuggets, and it would be an under, actually.
Yeah, this is a game tonight where, as far as a side, I think it's a tough call, right? I think you can go either way on a side type of feel. But for me, I like the Sixers team total here to go over 122.5. And typically with back-to-backs, it's not my thing, but they were brutal last night shooting the basketball. So I think they improved a lot tonight here. They're back at home. Defensively, I think the back-to-back will be more of an effect than on the offensive side. So I think it's almost safer to take a Sixers team total right now. Defensively, they've been a little bit out of sorts. the last couple of weeks. The Nuggets are going to be able to score with them, I think. So I think the side, it's going to come down to the last couple of possessions. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I like the Sixers here to go over 112.5.
We deserve a close game on national TV.
Yeah.
We just got the Lakers blowout last night. We had Sixers a few nights ago. I mean, we deserve a good national TV game.
And the other thing I just want to note as a Sixers fan, watch for the status of Embiid because he will sit out back-to-back games. I don't know if he would sit out this kind of game, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's just kind of how it works with Embiid. All right, the Hornets and the Thunder. A little trivia here, AC. If I was to ask, the viewers, the second best against the spread team in the NBA, not many would say the Oklahoma City Thunder, but that is the case for them. 39, 24, and 4. I mean, their numbers have been outstanding. Me and you have been on them a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say that. If you were watching this show since the beginning, then you would be on the Thunder with us. So Those people would know.
So the real ones know. But again, last night they covered. But the thing about last night means they're on a back-to-back. So an 11-point home dog here. This line is pretty inflated to me for one reason. The Hornets, they don't like to play defense. So 11 points is a lot to cover for a team who's bad at defense. But it looks too easy for the Thunder to me. What do you think?
I actually think it's a Hornets play, man. I think the number is that big for a reason. I mean, our boy Josh Giddey is out. The only one who actually plays defense on the Thunder is Lou Dort. He's out for the year. So I think they're just going to go up and down, really fast pace on both sides. I mean, Charlotte averages around 115 points a game, and the Thunder give up like 111. So I think there's going to be a ton of points in this game. We did have a question from our boy, Grant Albert. He asked thoughts on the Hornets team total at 120. He thinks it's too low considering the defensive Thunder play. And I agree. I think it's a Hornets team total spot and a Hornets spot. And we just mentioned it, right? We don't like big spreads like this, but I think this is kind of screaming at me that it's a Hornets play minus 11.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one for me is a skip. I'm going to stay off of this game. I really have no thoughts on this. I mean, if I had a gun to my head, what I would have to pick, I would say Hornets solely based off the line here. It's a lot of points, getting 11. All right, T-Wolves and Spurs. AC, we're getting there, right? We need 4 more wins for the Spurs. Every episode, we're getting a little closer. Again, congratulations to Greg Popovich. Obviously, reaching that milestone as the all-time leader in wins as an NBA head coach. But tonight is a spot where they could steal one, right? They stole one in that game for us over Utah. But then they go back and they lose to the Pacers. Like, this team is the definition of Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what you're getting with the Spurs. A lot of inconsistency, a lot of young players across this roster. The spread, 3.5 for Minnesota. Minnesota's been real good of late. What do you think?
Yeah, so both teams played 2 nights ago, so the rest advantage is not there. They both have the same amount of rest. The spot here, I would say, is the Spurs. The Spurs are coming off a really disappointing loss against the Pacers, like you mentioned. They were, I believe, 2-point favorites and ended up losing by 11 at home, whereas the Timberwolves, they were actually dogs in the last game, and they kind of took it to Miami. Very, very surprising. They only shot 40% against Miami and still won by 9 points. So the spot here is San Antonio. I'm going to stick with it. San Antonio has been our team. It's been our ride or die. And honestly, they're a huge, huge contrarian bet tonight, which makes me like them even more. So I like the Spurs plus 3.5, minus 105 if you're using 7 stacks.
All righty, yeah, but that's the other thing. Let's shout out the best book real quick before we get into this Warriors game. 7 Stack Sports. You can follow on Twitter at 7 Stack Sports. As AC just kind of mentioned, you don't get 110. Some books nowadays do 115. You're going to get minus 105 reduced juice on any side. So huge advantage, obviously, guys. A ton of you watching have signed up with Stacks. I mean, he's really taking over Twitter in the last couple months. We're going to have a bunch of promotions as well for March Madness. So give him a look, give him a follow, shoot him a DM and get set up. Tell him that you came over to In the Zone. The Wizards will travel to the Bay Area to take on the Warriors tonight. 11.5-point spread. Good news for the Warriors. Draymond Green is back. They will not have Andrew Wiggins, however, for tonight's game. But again, an 11.5-point spread. And the Wizards, I mean, they went from being up here where like, all right, is this team legit early in the season? And it's tough to blame them. Like, injuries have taken over. They've made some trades. This is just not a very good roster at this point in the season. I like the Wizards team total under here.
Yep.
I think getting Draymond back tonight, really, he's the quarterback of this team. He really picks them up on the defensive end. So this is a spot for me where I absolutely love this team total underplay. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, you and I are in alignment there. One thing I do want to point out is Draymond will be on a minutes restriction. So it's not going to be a full 40 minutes. I think it's like 23, 25 minutes. But I think that's going to be a significant influence on the game. And like Dad said, he's a quarterback. And more importantly, he's a quarterback of their defense. If you've been following the Warriors all season long, they had the best defense. Draymond went down and they just started giving up points left and right. They kind of changed their philosophy and were trying to outscore people instead of stop people. Now with Draymond back, Clay getting back healthier each game, their defense is going to improve. I love the Wizards team total under. I think it's also a Wizards side, to be honest, but I'm not confident enough. Like the Warriors are starting to round back into form. They've covered their last 4 games, won the last 3 outright. So to me, I think the team total is a great look, Dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is a really good spot for it. So going to be all over the team total there tonight. All right, Bulls Kings. This is one we've had a lot of questions about because look, you look at this spread and you're like, all right, the Bulls, they're going to blow out the Kings. But as you and me typically will go in these games, the opposite. I have to say I can't do it, though, with the Kings. I've seen these lines all season with the Kings when they're like 3.5. They get blown out. Like I think sometimes when you bet against the Kings, you just have to go with the obvious pick. So my lean here goes to Chicago at 3.5.
My lean is on the other side. So this is where we kind of go up against each other. I agree with you. The Kings have disappointed us every single time that we bet on them. Every time it seems like it's the right play or it's the right read or it's even a screamer, they just never pull out for us. But I'm going to stick with it. I do like the Kings tonight, plus 3.5. I think it's moving back a little to 4. Zach LaVine is questionable. So if he doesn't go, I do like that Kings pick a little better. Sabonis is back tonight as well. As of right now, right, we're recording this 3:00 on the East Coast. A lot can change before tip-off. It's a late game, but I do lean the Kings right now.
Yeah, for me, it's just like I said, the Kings, for whatever reason, they just never cover when I take them on short spreads. Like this is a Kings play by the line point of view, but for me, I am laying off. All right, Bucks and the Jazz. This is a huge game tonight, national television game. Just got note right now, AC, that Brook Lopez is available tonight. So that is a big upgrade for them on the inside, obviously getting back their center. This is a Bucks screamer, as you would say to me, based off the line here. Utah is the second best team in the Western Conference at home. Bucks are not a very good road team. They're only a few games above 500 on the road. And then look at this line, and Utah is still the dog tonight. So this is a Bucks line, in my opinion. I'm all over the Bucks in this game. Yeah, I think they're gonna get this one fairly easy. And I think the addition of Lopez, I don't know about his minutes. I mean, Bobby Portis has really stepped in and helped them out a lot. But I mean, he was a big player for them last season during that championship run. So you're getting back your starting center here tonight, all over the Milwaukee Bucks in this game tonight.
Dad, you and I usually are in alignment all the time. Today we are going against each other. So that previous game and now this game, I like the Jazz a lot tonight. I don't know if I'm going to make it a VIP play yet, but I'm definitely going to bet them personally. I do like the Jazz. +1, like you said, but I think it's flipping right now. If you look at the latest lines, I think they're favored by 1. So I love that movement, and I love fading good news, right? I think it's a great thing that Brook Lopez is back for the Bucks, and they're excited. Rudy Gobert is questionable. Azubuike is out for the Jazz. So like you would expect all the good news on the Bucks side and all the bad news on the Jazz side. So I'm actually going to fade that type of news. I like the Jazz tonight, man. Whether it's +1 or -1, I like Utah.
All right, yeah. So at least one of us will win this one. Final play of the night. Let's head out to the Lakers and Raptors. Lakers 5-point dogs tonight against Toronto. Toronto, really tough team, right? We know they're a hard-nosed defensive team. They play pretty slow. They shoot the ball pretty well. I'm going back to what I did last night. Lakers team total under 111.5. I'm just not taking, like they had 2 quarters last night where they scored 34 points and still went under. Like this is just not a good offensive team. They can't string together scores. Like they have too many lulls in this lineup, and it's because they just don't have shooters. Like the one thing I'll say, and I've said this on the show before, I think their best shooter is Wayne Ellington. They don't play him. He was the guy in the fourth quarter scoring. Like when the team total is getting close, I mean, he could shoot the lights out of the ball. I don't know why they don't give him a chance, but they'll roll out, Trevor Ariza. Like I don't understand their rotation. You have to give some type of shooting, but this is a back-to-back spot for the Lakers. So I'm going to continue to ride this trend right here. I'm going to go with their team total under. Toronto, good defensive team. They can pretty much switch 1 through 5. I think they match up really well here in this game tonight.
Yeah, this game to me, Dad, is probably a stay away from me. It's hard to bet the Lakers team. I know we kind of focus, on their team total and their shooting and all that, but what really disappointing to watch is their defense, man. They play zero defense. There's no effort. If you double team one guy, the other team literally just rotates the ball to the other side, and it's a wide open shot every single time. They gave up 140 to the Suns, 140 to the Rockets, 120 to the Spurs, 120 to the Warriors. Like they are just not a really good defensive team. Toronto coming in to Crypto.com Center as the favorite. I mean, this to me is a Raptor spot, but I'm just gonna lay off and I'm gonna see just how they do. I mean, without LeBron James, the Lakers would be Portland, right? They would be like so bad.
Yeah, I mean,
losing by 40, 50 points every game.
Right. All right, it's that time, AC. Our best bets of the night. Let's get into it here. You can kick us off. I only have one tonight.
Okay.
But you take us first.
All right, man. So this is one of the games you and I disagree on, but I think the Kings are not only going to cover the +3.5, +4, but I think they win outright against the Bulls tonight. If there's no Zach LaVine, that's a big if, but I'm going to stick with my Kings bet as the best bet for the show.
Alrighty, and mine is going to be the Lakers team total under 111.5. I'm going back to it last night. Toronto, one of the better defensive teams in the NBA. They are the 9th best scoring defense. And that is with a team that has not been that healthy this year. They're getting healthier. They have great length 1 through 5. So I'm going to be willing to fade the Lakers on a back-to-back. They can't shoot already, and now they're going to have some tired legs added to that. So give me the Lakers team total under 111.5. And AC, let's get a little – do you have 1 or 2 today? Is that you just have
I just have one. I just have that one. Yeah.
So then let's get another little sweep here, a little 2-0 day. Guys, thank you so much for everyone who stuck it out with us, everybody who's been on for the first time. This episode and all episodes sponsored by the GOAT, the best sports book on Twitter, 7Stack Sports. Give them a follow right there on the screen at 7Stack Sports. 24/7 customer service, same-day payouts in Bitcoin. Great AC, get the -105 reduced juice lines. And
the best, man.
We're going to have a lot of college basketball coverage, too, through the March Madness season. That means a lot of promos, which I know current clients are going to get, new clients are going to get of 7Stack. So make sure you guys keep your notifications on for us, and we will be back on what day? The schedule keeps getting me.
Tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow, guys. Take care.